60% of the people in San Francisco in November of '06, which was the election that also propelled her to the speakership, voted for an impeachment resolution against George Bush and Dick Cheney. That district is overwhelmingly against the war, or the occupations of Iraq and Afghanistan, and want the troops to come home. And she has not done even the will of her own district. First of all, our young people should not join the military to be used by the empire. And if they are in the military, they definitely should resist going to these illegal occupations. I equate recruiters with sexual predators. You know, they prey on our children. They lie to our children. They deceive our children. They act like they're our children's best friends. Recruiters give away video games that are violent. They take our young people to pizza. They get iPods from recruiters. You know, whatever the recruit wants, you know, they get until they sign on the dotted line. And then it's almost as if they're abandoned. And not very many people know this, and we certainly didn't know it when Casey enlisted, but an enlistment contract is only enforceable on the recruit, not on the government.
So you said that...
I've heard from dozens of parents who say they opted out, but the recruiters are still targeting their children. I've had desperate parents email me and say, you know, my child, no matter what I say, is insistent on joining the military, and I will call and talk to that kid. I've done it several times.
And what is it that they really respond to when you talk to the youth?
Well, it's really hard for a young person to think of young people don't really think of dying. They think they're invincible, but hurting their mother is something that most young people really respond to. You know, you're going to be in a situation, even if you don't die, where you may have to kill an innocent person. Can you live with yourself? If you have to kill a child, you know, that's why many vets come back and commit suicide, because they can't live with themselves, what they have to do in a war zone. But ultimately, if something happens to you, it's going to destroy your mother. How about the outrage of 6 to 7 Iraq vets a day committing suicide, and at least that many trying and not succeeding? You don't hear about those stories in the mainstream media. The total takeover of our economy by what I call, and you know, other people call, the war machine. Our Pentagon budget for this year, for the first time, if you include Black Ops and other departments that spend money on defense but aren't Pentagon, like the State Department, if you count all of the foreign aid that goes for military, that goes through the State Department. The Energy Department is responsible for nuclear bombs, so that money doesn't go through the Pentagon. And then, of course, Black Ops, we have no idea how much they spend on Black Ops, but that's gone over $1 trillion, and that's not even counting Iraq and Afghanistan, because those are supplemental financing. They admit to about 750, but Noam Chomsky has estimated over 1,000 bases around the world. I would close most of those bases. The people of those countries don't want our bases there. Every country that I have visited, except for Cuba and Venezuela, have U.S. military bases, and they want the bases out of the countries that I visited. The people do. And when I would nationalize the oil companies, and we could use their excess profits to clean our environment up, to really implement sustainable and healthy forms of energy. And you know, we're on the trajectory of the Roman Empire, and what happened to the Roman Empire? It crumbled, but not as fast as the United States is crumbling. and we have to voluntarily give up our empire like Great Britain did to really be a sustainable economy. And not very many people know this, but the president and vice president can still be impeached after they leave office. And they can be barred from holding any other federal offices. They can be barred from getting any kind of federal retirement or Secret Service or reserves. It's time that an American president has to be held accountable for war crimes and crimes against humanity, not just for justice or retribution for what happened, but for the future. You know, President Obama or President McCain might not feel so free to embark on illegal and immoral wars or invasions or occupations or whatever you want to call them, and that they have to know that they will be constrained, that there are limits to presidential power. Not only are there limits to presidential power, but it should be in this country that not one of us is above the law. If anybody learns anything from my life, I think it should be that one person can make a difference. You know, and if you just sit on your couch whining that, oh, I'm just one person, what difference am I going to make? Then you're guaranteed you're not going to make a difference.